Okay, so hi everybody. Now, if you are watching this video, it means that you have successfully completed BMS 165, or maybe not, but most of you would have successfully completed. So first of all, a round of applause to you. Well done. Now, Keaton, you've already seen her in our introductory video, so she is here again providing her awesome clinical nuggets of wisdom. So we look forward to those. So let's get cracking, Nerdburgers. BMS 175, Topic 1, Part 1, right? The skin. Now, it is the skin, you're probably sick of me already saying this, but the skin is an amazing organ, right? Now, before we get cracking looking at the skin, we need to make sure that we prepare correctly for our assessment tasks. Now, I'm just going to remind you in the first couple of lectures. Don't forget that you need to be able to write the answers to all of these learning objectives in your own words as much as you can, particularly the explained ones, okay? Now, I know it's hard, but if you've done BMS 165, you would have had a little bit of a practice at it, so it's probably not too bad, but if you just knew, we're going to give you as much help as we possibly can for you to develop your writing. And I know it's difficult, but Keaton, writing well and succinctly and logically, that's an important role, isn't it, in nursing?
Oh, that's an everyday thing, Nat. We really need to make sure that we can write succinctly, not use abbreviations that aren't approved, and really be able to put things in our own words in a really clear way, because that's one of the key ways that we communicate as nurses. So great pick up there.
Awesome. See, we're training you already for the job. You'll be job-ready graduates like we told you in the advertisement for CSU. Okay, so make sure after the end of this lecture you have made or you've compiled answers to all of these learning objectives. Now, let's start. The skin. Here is a really nice picture of the skin. Did you know that it covers approximately 2 square meters? That is a lot. That's like a rug. I'm not saying that you should think of the skin as a rug, but I'm just saying 2 square meters is a big, big area, okay? Now, when we think of the skin, it's made up of 2 layers. Can you see here? You've got the epidermis and the dermis on the bottom. So 2 layers, and they're all kind of wobbly. They're not like one on top of each other. Now, skin, because it's an organ, and organs are made out of tissues, and tissues are made out of cells, skin is also made out of cells. So skin cells here, can you see those there? They look like the red ones, right? They're like tiles on a roof, and they are kind of stuck together to hold the whole structure together. And this makes it tough. And skin cells have a protein in them called keratin, which makes these cells really, really, really tough and hard to kind of break. So when you think about skin, it's like tiles on a roof. Now, you probably think of, oh yeah, there's not much going on in the skin. Well, like I said to you, you'll be amazed. Look at this. We have so many sensory neurons that are sitting in the skin. So here's the first layer of the skin. This is the second one. And look at this. Look at this. All of these sensory cells. Now, if you haven't done BMS 165, don't worry. But all of these things here are designed to pick up things. So, for example, this cell will go off, okay? Will send a signal when there's changes in temperature. This one will go off if there's vibration detected. This one we did see in 165, and this one, this little cell here will actually start sending signals when you are exposed to something noxious, which is something not nice. which is the definition of pain. Okay, so look, our skin is it's a sense organ. It picks up lots and lots and lots of different things and is full of sensory neurons. The other function of the skin is that it allows us to communicate non-verbally, okay? Can you see here, look at all the muscles that you have in your face. Look at that. This must be what people look like when they're sleeping. So here we go. So you've got the skin, and under that is the muscle tissue, and under that is the bone, okay? So Keaton, when you see someone presenting in the hospital, you do look at the person's overall appearance, correct? Because that gives you some clinical clues.
We definitely do. We have a brief look at their general appearance to start with, and then that can really help us to determine just how unwell the patient is or what subsequent assessments we need to do.
Excellent. See, so it's important. The skin will give you clinical clues. Another really important function of the skin is to help us regulate our body temperature, okay? Now, this picture is a little bit kind of complicated, but what we can do is we can think of the skin as being an internal system that can be used to make sure that our body temperature stays stable, okay? Now, how does this work? If you are overheating, okay, you've gone for a run, okay, and something's happened, you are overheating. I'll show you this picture here. What happens is that your skin, the blood vessels in your skin, they become bigger, all right? And that's how you get like a flushed face, okay? Now, when your blood goes to those areas of the skin that are closest to the environment, we can lose heat. So when you are overheating, you have more blood going to the surface of the skin, and then we can lose heat as a consequence. If we are really, really, really freezing and cold, then you're not going to have a red face, are you? You're going to look a bit pale. This is because all the skin is making sure those blood vessels are all kind of narrow and try and restrict the blood going to the surface. So we're kind of conserving our energy, okay? So the skin allows blood to get closer and further away from the environment. And when we get closer to the environment, we can lose heat. When we get further away from the environment, we can conserve it, okay? It's very, very efficient kind of system. The other thing that the skin does, it's involved in creating vitamin D, okay? Now we create a vitamin, all right? Now the skin, due to exposure to the sun, will start the process of making vitamin D for us. Then the liver and the kidney take over. So the skin just starts it, all right? And that is all got to do with the sun making contact with your skin cells. How good is that? You are a vitamin-producing machine, okay? Now, why do we need vitamin D? Well, vitamin D is there in your digestive system to make sure that you grab your calcium from your food and put it in your blood. So that's why you need vitamin D. That's very, very important because we need calcium for our bones. Okay, the other thing that's important, well, you know, if we are covered in a barrier kind of structure, it means that we can keep the water that we have in our bodies inside, that we don't leak, right? So we keep the water inside, so it prevents water loss, and then also we make sure that we have a barrier so the sun doesn't damage our other tissues. Okay, it goes through the skin first and then it actually blocks a lot of the UV rays, which can cause a problem. Yeah? All right, so we've done a little bit already. So if we have a look at this kind of learning map, we can get a bit of an idea where we're at. We've got the intergumentary system, which is a bit of a mouthful, and then the integument is the skin, and we know that it's made up of 2 layers. We're also going to be looking at hair, nails, and glands, okay? Just to give you a bit of an idea of where we're up to with things. Okay, so this is the first layer of the skin. The first layer of the skin called the epidermis, and because the skin is a tissue, it's made out of cells. So here are the 5 different cells that live in that part of the skin. Now, the major cell type of the skin is a skin cell, but it has a specific name, and they are called keratinocytes. And there's also other ones there that have different jobs, okay? These guys protect us from the sun. These guys are sensory receptors. So if someone touches you, you know about it. Your nervous system knows about it. These guys here are macrophages. Now, if you've done 165, you would know what a macrophage is. It's a big eater. It goes around having a look. It's like always on patrol. It's like the security guard, always on patrol, getting rid of things that really shouldn't be there and alerting the immune system if they find something dodgy. Right, and the last one is the stem cell, because our skin is always making cells. It takes about a month for you to make a skin cell, and it goes all the way to the top, and then you lose it. It's gone forever. Here we go. Here's our learning map. We just did the first layer of the skin. Let's have a look at the second layer, the dermis. So the first layer of the skin is actually epithelial tissue, and the second layer is connective tissue, which means that there are cells in a matrix, okay? These are the cells, fibroblasts, which make extracellular matrix. These guys are fat cells. Oh, everybody hates them, but they have such an important role. Macrophages, you know what they do. So fibroblasts make this. Fibroblast makes what the cells sit in. Collagen is a protein. Elastin is a protein. Reticular fibers are also protein. There's other things that hang around in this kind of layer, but what I want you to understand is that the barrier between the first and 2 layers of the skin is not flat. It's wavy. Wavy, wavy. Yeah? And the certain parts of the wavy kind of interface have different names. But the whole point of it is that they interlock. They interlock. Oh, I thought I had a picture of something like that, but I don't. They interlock. So this, see this top layer? This is the first layer of the skin. This is the epidermis. And then this is the dermis. So this is epithelial tissue. This is connective tissue. And see how the layers are wavy, which means that if you have it this way, it's just like a carton, an egg carton, like that. And because if you have it this way, it's harder for the 2 layers to come apart. Ha ha ha! See? Intelligent design. And so we have the epidermis and the dermis, and then we have another layer down the bottom here, hypodermis. But see, look, you thought the skin was just a boring old structure with not much going on. Look at it. It is busy as. Busy, busy, busy as. Now, when I think of skin, what do you think of, Keaton?
I think of the skin, that.
Well, I think of cake. This is why. The skin has many, many layers. Can you see here that if we go from the outside in, we have one layer, the other layer, the other layer, and then we end up at the bone or muscle. This is just like a layered cake. You've got sponge, you've got cream, you've got, what else is there in a cake?
You have icing.
Icing.
On top. You can have sauce on top.
Exactly. So it's, you know, this is exactly like a layered dessert, even like tiramisu or even trifle. You have one layer sitting on top of another layer, which is sitting on top of another layer, on top of another layer, and each layer is a little bit different. So this one is epithelial tissue, this one is connective, and then you've got bone or muscle. Okay?
And it's really important that as nurses, when we're doing our patient assessment, we talk about a head-to-toe assessment and viewing the patient as a whole. And one of the key parts of doing that is viewing their integument, or viewing all of their skin and noticing any abnormalities in that, whether it be a break in the skin, where there might be a risk of infection, fluid loss, heat loss, a problem that we need to address, or whether there be an injury or something that we need to address in that integument layer. So understanding what the integument does and how it does its different roles is really important for us to understand, so that we know what risk the patient might be at when they've got a breakage to that system.
Yeah, very, very important. And then you'll know if it's broken, you'll know what all the different layers are. Yeah. Very, very important there. Okay, what we might do is we might do the hypodermis, because I think we're probably about at 15 minutes now, and then we'll have a little break. So let's have a look at the hypodermis, hey? So this is the layer, this is the third layer if you have a look. 1, 2, 3, hypodermis. Can you see that the hypodermis is not technically part of the skin? See that? So hypodermis is connective tissue layer. Let's see what lives there. It's connective tissue, which means cells in a matrix. All right? Same kind of cell profile, same kind of stuff that sits in there. Now, what's the point of having fatty tissue? It is protection, okay? And Keaton, why is it good? Why are drugs injected into there?
Oh, this is a really good one, Nat. So we inject drugs into this layer because they'll absorb into the circulatory system more slowly. So we have a chance to have drugs that are longer acting than if we were giving them, say, in a vein, which is really cool. And we'll talk about that a little later as well.
Very, very helpful, hey? Very helpful, because so look at this. If you look at the blood vessels, see, there's a few up here. There's a few kind of there. But your drugs want to go there. Yeah.
And while you've got that picture up, Nat, it's really important too, because if we're giving the injection into the wrong layer, the drug is going to be introduced into the wrong layer of skin, which is going to mean that it absorbs differently or may even negatively affect the person in terms of not being able to absorb the medication. So when we're giving our subcutaneous injections, we're really aiming to get right through into that fatty tissue layer.
Yeah, this is the target. Very, very good.